All right, folks, here we are again. Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis here with you. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning. We just did a cut in on the TV side. This does include the southern portion of the peninsula. It's Newport News, Menchville, Hampton, Poquoson, Back River. This is for a slow-moving cell, 15-mile-per-hour speed on this, but it is packing some gusty winds, and we can see pockets here moving through the Poquoson area. Let's see what some wind speeds may be here. We're approaching 50 miles per hour in some of these near Powhatan Place, Poquoson itself. You're looking at maybe 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. The warning here is for up to 60 mile per hour winds, so that's certainly a possibility, especially since we've got rainfall rates that are up between 1 to 2 inches per hour, and that's certainly enough to pull down some of the strongest of the winds from higher aloft. So that's what we're looking at there right now in that severe thunderstorm warning. This is up until 9:30, so we've got 25 more minutes on it for the southern tip of the peninsula. That's the only warning right now in our area, but we've been watching, when we talked in the last stream, we were watching this cluster here that's now expanded. And look at the amount of lightning that's just kind of flaring up. This is a 30-minute tag on it. Over 750 strikes of lightning within the last 30 minutes. So if you were to put that over an hour, you're looking at over 1,500 strikes in this area. None of it, so there's no warnings on it. There are special weather statements. So we talked about this before. That's kind of like the precursor to the possibility of a warning. There are strong thunderstorms, but the wind gusts, at least sampled by radar, because this is all radar indicated, at least isn't up until to 60 miles per hour, which would warrant a warning. So we may get there, certainly. We were watching for that possibility earlier. Any hail here is very small. And now the sun has gone down. It's been down for 45 minutes now. The hail threat will really start to drop. But certainly heavy rain, lots of lightning. And now it's dark, you can just see this lightning. If you're out by the ocean front, you're looking west, boy, you got a lightning show. In fact, let's go through our Skyview network and look at some of these cameras. This is atop our studios. Yeah, there you got some lightning. We just had a downpour roll on through here. This is up in along the peninsula. In fact, where that warning is. This is up at the what is this? Newport News, I believe. And we've got some frequent lightning there, very heavy rainfall, and the possibility of some gusty winds as well, which is why they have that severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go over to see what things are looking like here. Oh, that's stuck. Okay, cool. Yep, that one's stuck too. All right. Out by the ocean front, let's look on top of the Westin in Virginia Beach Town Center. Oh, you can see some lightning there on the right side of your screen. That one's looking to the north. Let's see. That one's looking to the south. This one's looking to the north a little bit. Not seeing much there. At least right now. Let's go over to Hampton is not working. Jordan Bridge, Portsmouth and Chesapeake. There we go. Okay, let's go over to Nauticus then. Oh yeah, there we go. It's a light show out there tonight, folks. So if you're wondering, why is there so much lightning? Well, let me tell you about it. So when we get such high humidity, our dew points have been in the 70s. When that very moist air is forced to rise, we see the condensation. They get into stronger thunderstorms, stronger updrafts. More ice crystals form in the highest levels of the clouds because it's so cold. Ice crystals are forming. There's more friction between those ice crystals, and there's more discharge of the electrical charges in the form of lightning. So we get lightning strikes that are very high. Okay, in fact, let's go ahead. Let's have some fun in the stream, shall we? All right, let's go over to lightning. I can get a lightning strike count. Where is it? I just got to find it. All right, I'll just go over to this one here. I'm going to change it up to the day, the entire day of lightning strikes, okay? Let me turn off radar so it doesn't look as ridiculous. So just in our area, pretty much, it's going to query just the entire window. But look at that strike count, 26,000 strikes in the last 24 hours. Now, let's widen it out, maybe try to get like all of Virginia. less, 17,000 strikes. So we've got more in our, look at the amount of strikes down here. Holy cow. So just in this area, almost 10,000 strikes today, and they're continuing. And then in our area, let's just do our entire 13 News Now viewing area. Again, it's taking out what's in Central Virginia too, but actually, I probably can query it. Let's see. Just do this area. So we've got 10,500 strikes just in our area. All right, enough fun, all business now. All right, there's this one warning here that's still up for the southern tip of the peninsula. Again, main hazard, gusty winds. We've seen some radar indications that we are getting some, oh yeah, look at that pocket right there. Right to the north of Hampton. Pocosin area getting some very back river. So some of these, we're approaching 50. We're pretty far from the radar site too, so near Pocosin. Could have some damaging wind gusts here out by Pocosin. So now this storm, this is moving northeast, okay? So this is about to move out over the Chesapeake Bay. So the pocket of the strongest winds, you're in the clear, Hilton Village, Menchville, Big Bethel, Newport News, Hampton too, in the clear for the damaging wind gusts. It's Pocosin and Fox Hill right now that are seeing the strongest of the winds, and probably will so for the next 15 minutes or so. That's what we're seeing with that. Even though the rain is lagging behind Menchville, Hilton Village, Newport News, still seeing rain, lightning, and thunder. The threat, the severe threat here, which is the gusty, damaging winds, is over for you. It's Pocosin and Fox Hill now seeing the gustiest of the winds. Our next storm that is strong, not warned at this point, but it stretches from southern Isle of Wight, eastern Southampton, central and western Suffolk. Large area here, heavy rainfall. Lightning strikes in this area in 30 minutes, 800. So very loud evening for you there. That includes Franklin. That includes Windsor. That includes downtown Suffolk. And not quite to Smithfield yet, but you're definitely seeing and hearing the lightning and thunder there for you. And it's building back over to Portsmouth, okay? North Suffolk, Bridgeport, Bennett's Creek, Harborview. Heavy rain, lightning and thunder into Churchill, Church Point, Pocosin, not Pocosin, Portsmouth, there we go, and even stretching into northern Norfolk, too. All these are non-warned. This is all just a very strong thunderstorm with lots of lightning and thunder. Again, this is a 30-minute count, 1,000 strikes now. And we were on a weakening trend for a little bit, but now these storms are tapping into areas that were not worked over. Okay, we didn't have any activity this afternoon in Southside, so all of that energy, all that humidity, all that moisture is still present, and these storms are using it. They will gradually weaken as we get farther away from sunset, but right now they are pretty strong, all of which are sub-severe. Let's see if we've got any pockets of some strong winds. And it looks like we could have some, probably not severe yet, but near Zunai, to the northwest of Windsor. What are some wind gusts here? We're approaching 40, south of Zunai. Lots of heavy rain, lots of lightning and thunder. Northeast North Carolina, not seeing a whole lot. From Gates down into Perquimans, Belvedere, east of Gatesville, lightning and thunder, heavy rain, Hertford. Elizabeth City, just some light rain showers, and then Dare County getting some heavy rain there for you, but non-severe at this point. But we've got 17 more minutes on the warning that's up for Newport News. Let's see. So from the Weather Service, storms moving into Hampton Roads are mainly sub-severe, minus the Newport News and Hampton cell. Still a decent amount of instability out there, especially south side. Like I mentioned, it hasn't been worked over. So we may have to issue some targeted warnings on any stronger storms. Heavy rain and frequent lightning, isolated damaging wind gusts are the main threats, like we've been talking about. So it's not a wide scale. There's no watch out. They ruled against, there was only, what was it, a 20? Yeah, 20% risk of them needing to issue a severe thunderstorm watch with the mesoscale discussion that came out like 2 hours ago, probably. I believe so, yeah. So there's only a 20% chance of issuance, so they never did. So that's why the threat, if it was more widespread threat, they would have issued a watch. This is just isolated. But again, watching this cluster here, there could be a few segments of it that become strong enough to go severe with the wind gusts. And how we'll watch that and monitor that is with a velocity tool. And basically what that is doing is sampling the direction and speed at which particles of air are moving from the radar site. So the different colors are: red is moving away from the radar site. You see that beam shooting out from Wakefield. That's the radar site sampling from. Green is going to be winds heading towards it. Okay, so that's why we also look for like couplets when we see opposing wind direction and wind shear. That would indicate the possibility of some spin or tornadic activity. We have not seen that today. So that's good. That's a mark 1 up in the positive column. But certainly it's the heavy rain. Any flash flood warning, there's no flash flood warnings up for our area right now. You have to go out to Petersburg where there's a flash flood warning, and that reminds me, let's check the gauge. So, I mean, okay, so it did jump about 2 feet. We're talking about Lieutenant Run Creek. That was the creek that jumped by about 10 feet on Monday in about an hour, causing the flash flood emergency there. Right now, it jumped from roughly 4.5 feet to 6.5 feet in about 15 minutes. So jumped about 2 feet. What just happened there? Okay, jumped about 2 feet, and it looks like it just came down a little bit in the last one. So probably not going to see any big time flash flooding there. So that's good news for Petersburg. Outside of our viewing area, but still, we care about everybody. So they're just seeing some heavy rain there right now. We're seeing the brunt of it. You got this cell that's over, look at the amount of lightning in the cell over Hampton and Hilton Village. Strike count there in 30 minutes, 255. Let's see. Let's go in the last 3 minutes. Getting crazy here on a Friday night. 3-minute lightning strike, 23. Not too sure. So that's in every 3 minutes, you got 24 strikes. How about let's do 10 minutes? A little more impressive, about 100 strikes in 10 minutes. 10 strikes no, my math is going to be off there, so I'm not even going to continue. Pocosin area, Fox Hill, Hampton, still got the warning up for 13 more minutes. Let's go back to 30 minutes. 266. And then down here, oh boy, a lot of lightning. Over 960 strikes now from Windsor, Isle of Wight, Southampton, Suffolk, stretching over into Portsmouth now, and Norfolk. A lot of heavy rain. Let's look at how much rain maybe fell in the last hour. Look at South Suffolk, boy, north of Reynoldson in Gates County, 1 to 2 inches per hour. Verified there. So the rainfall rates, 1 to 2 inches per hour. There we go. In the last hour, about 2 inches of rain has fallen in southwestern Suffolk. Over north of Seabrill, just under an inch in the last hour. North of Windsor, just over ½ an inch so far. And remember, we do have quite a high flood risk today. So goes up to 4. You know how we gauge the severe weather threat with the 5-tiered system? Sit a little bit better here. If I fall over, that'll be something. We gauge the severe threat 1 to 5, right? So flooding threat is gauged a little differently with 4 tiers. So most of our area is under a level 2, which is likely for flash flooding. So the reasoning behind this is because we've had so much rain. Ground saturated, right? And the threshold has been lowered for the possibility of flash flooding because the ground can't absorb it. It's got nowhere to go. You need a little less rain to get to that flash flooding. So the threshold's been lowered, and you see just to our northwest of that, it does include Southampton, western Isle of Wight, Surrey, western James City County, is up to a level 3 out of 4. And that's not common. You know, we don't see that very often. We've seen numerous level 2 threats. But the level 3 is interesting, and it stretches all the way up to the northwest along 64 from Richmond to Charlottesville. So that's what's going on. We do have the flood risk is there, and that's been the main issue. In fact, we still have a flood watch that's up until 4 a.m. for most of our area. It doesn't include Matthews or the Eastern Shore. But everybody else has got the possibility of seeing some flash flooding, or flooding at least. Just look at these. This lightning count keeps going up. We're up to 1,600 strikes in that whole window. Let's keep it on there and just see if that number trends drastically upwards over the next couple of minutes or so. Paige, can you just go around to some of the Skyview cameras possibly while we wait and monitor this count? So we're at 1,670 for the strikes here. And Paige, my amazing director, is going to be kind of taking on us a tour de Hampton Roads of Skyview cameras. Sponsored by Thompson Creek Window Company, by the way. Actually, you know what, Paige? I can do it on my end. Let me just pop around here. Okay, you got it? So that is that Hampton? Where's that? Yeah, that's Hampton. So we're right up in that severe thunderstorm warning with obviously tons of lightning. And you can see that there. Very frequent lightning. It's a very loud Friday night. There's over to Newport News. Plenty of lightning and thunder for you there as well. Everybody's getting their share of lightning tonight. There's the Jordan Bridge. Not seeing, maybe, I can't tell if that road is wet or not. Probably. I think we've got a little bit of rain there. And then there's Nauticus. Oh, yeah, plenty of lightning. Look at that. And you can see it all in the distance, too. Let's see if we capture any. Can you go to our tower camera? Let's see if we'll capture any strikes. That'd be kind of cool. An update on the lightning strikes, by the way, folks. We're at 1629. So with it being a 30-minute count, we see it kind of refresh as it wipes away, the strikes that are older than 30 minutes. So it adjusts down, but we're hovering around 1630. And it's obviously hiking back up, and we'll see if the refresh rate outweighs or outruns the new strike rate. We've got the warning up for another 9 minutes for Hampton, over to Poquoson for the gusty, damaging winds. Virginia Beach, okay. Top of the west in there. We're looking south, I believe. No, we're looking north. That's south, okay. All right, let's go back over to radar. Let's get another look here at that severe thunderstorm warning. We only got it up for another couple minutes. Last time we checked, oh yeah, look at that. They put out a flood advisory now for the southern tip of the peninsula. This does include Newport News, Hilton Village, Hampton, Menchville. Lingering, they have scaled back the severe thunderstorm warning. This is up still until 9:30. Let's see what the winds look like. Yeah, it looks like the strongest of the winds is now offshore of Poquoson. So you're looking at 45 to 50 radar indicated there. So the strongest winds, I think Poquoson, you're in the clear. I think all the peninsula's in the clear as the strongest winds is now pushed offshore. Now it's shifting to the flood threat. So we're at a flood advisory now for this same area until 11:15. Flood alerts are usually for a much longer period of time because depending on the infrastructure, it'll take longer for the water to recede, right? So how much rain has come down last hour? Let's see. So some of these numbers here, northwest of Big Bethel between Red Hill Village, about an inch. Menchville, a little under an inch in the last hour. Hilton Village, 3/4 of an inch. So it hasn't refreshed yet out by Poquoson and Hampton. So it's kind of a lagging indicator here, but we're looking at roughly about an inch in most of these areas when we get the updated thing over the last hour. So around an inch, maybe a little bit more than an inch rainfall rates per hour in those areas. So flood advisory up for that spots. Oh, look at this. So Poquoson, the Mesonet site there recorded a 57-mile-per-hour gust. As we saw that, that lobe of the gusty winds blow through there, 57-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see if that's, I don't think that's going to pop up on the winds here, though, but let's try it. No. Nope, sure doesn't. All right, back over to radar. Still in this cell, 30-minute strikes, 278. Still no warnings up in here. It looks like the energies are spreading out a little bit, but it is still a strong storm. Let's see if we've got some pockets here Okay, we could see a warning coming soon. This is just west of downtown Suffolk, okay? Southeast of Windsor, west of Kings Fork, and over Myrtle. Winds here. Okay, radar indicated maybe up to 40 to 45. We may be getting close to seeing a warning issued here in probably western Suffolk. That would probably include downtown Suffolk if they do pull the trigger on it. They do have a special weather statement on it. Let's see if that's updated. Calling for 40-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah, both. There's two special weather statements, one for the one over Windsor, one for the farther southern Suffolk, both indicating a special weather statement for winds to 40. And we saw that, radar indicating that's a possibility. See that little lobe there, the bright yellows. That's going to be where you find the strongest winds. We also have one here, pretty much at the intersection between Gates, Hertford, and Southampton, near Wyandotte. Can you guys, I wonder if you can hear the thunder on my mic. We've got a lot of thunder and lightning here in Norfolk. By the way, folks, if you're watching on 13 News Now Plus, shoot me a message on Facebook. I'd like to know how many of you are watching on my Facebook page, Tim Pandajis. And we can maybe give me a report, what you're seeing where you are. That would be helpful. Yeah, so on Facebook, shoot me over a message if you're watching this stream with us and then hanging out on this Friday. 9:26 on this Friday evening. We're watching several strong storms, one severe. Look at that lobe of strong winds. That's right over the Chesapeake now. They've put out a special marine warning. And if that holds, that's going to go into Northampton County, near Cape Charles and Townsend, along the eastern shore here. Likely, I mean, we have the reduced friction over water, so the wind speeds are probably a little bit higher now. Let's see what maybe radar is showing. Yeah, close to 55. Okay, yeah, so stronger winds that are going to shoot across the bay. And if that holds, may have a warning or something out in the eastern shore. Look at this pocket here over Portsmouth. Heavy rainfall, lightning and thunder. Any other pockets of some gusty winds? Oh, yeah, this one's looking a little better here in Suffolk. Right near Myrtle. 40 to 45, maybe 50 in that little slug there. Slide south to this other little pocket that we saw. This could be some broad, let's see what this looks like on radar. Okay, so yeah, this is just the top end. I was going to say that looks like a little bit of rotation, but not so much. Wind speeds in here, 30 to 40. A lot of rainfall there, very heavy rain. Only one flood alert, though, in our area so far. We'll see if we get any more. Yeah, Weather Service noting what we were just looking at from Isle of Wight down to Franklin through western Suffolk of the wind speeds there of widespread 40-mile-per-hour velocities, which we just showed. Okay, what just came out? I just got an alert. All right, the thunderstorm warning has been canceled, so it'll be up here in 2 minutes. And we will no longer have any warnings out, just the flood alerts that'll probably be going on here for a little while longer. Well, it's up until 11:30 for 2 more hours, so we'll see if it gets upgraded, though, to a flash flood warning, which the hourly rainfalls, we got a pocket here, so it's starting to fill in a little bit more. So these are rainfall estimates near Big Bethel over the last hour, over an inch. About an inch, 3/4 of an inch to the northwest of Hampton along 64. Menchville, roughly an inch. Hilton Village, about ½ an inch. Boy, if you live in Norfolk, bet you're glad you didn't water the lawn today. It is coming down. Let's see rainfall rates here. Yeah, we're looking at over an inch an hour. 1.25 inches over to Portsmouth. North Suffolk, close to 2 inches per hour. I mean, these are tropical down. Well, tropical will be like 3, 3.5, 4 inches per hour, but definitely unusual for this area. We've got those high P watts. Remember talking about those earlier in the week? Our P watt, which is precipitable water. Basically what that is we take a column of air from aloft and down to the surface and squeeze it out. How much moisture we get out of that is the P watt value. And that gets modeled. And models were showing for this week, and really for the last couple weeks when we've had such high moisture content, P watts between 1.5 and 2.25. So that's 1.5 to 2.25 inches of moisture, of water that gets compressed out of a column of air. And basically that's a good indicator for rainfall rates and rainfall totals depending on the movement of the storm. Basically what these storms do is they will wring out the atmosphere of all that moisture like a sponge. And you'll get those high rainfall rates, which is what we're seeing. It's overspreading almost the entire city of Suffolk right now. Brandy Bentley watching from Matthews County. She called in. That's even better. Appreciate that. Thank you, Brandy. Glad you found us here on 13 News Now Plus. Out towards Matthews. Let's get a look at Matthews. Yeah, you're getting some heavy rain out by you. All non-severe right now. Probably some lightning and thunder for you as well, but not as intense as what's going on in the south here. That was the residual of the storm that moved out of Petersburg, the northern end. That has weakened significantly. But look at from Poquoson south into Southside, where we've got a lot of lightning and thunder. You see the count there over 1,100 now. And that's because these cells are moving into an area that was not worked over. It was untapped, untouched. Basically unused resources, pretty much. So these storms are taking full advantage of it, even though we're over an hour past sunset. There's enough. Let's see, did I get it? Hold on. I think I'm getting messages. Hold on. Oh, Brandy Bentley sent me a message on Facebook, too. Look at you. Appreciate you. She was reporting light rain and lots of lightning off in the distance. Thank you, Brandy. Appreciate you. Any other folks watching from home tonight and you're on the Book of Faces, send me a message and let me know what you're seeing. Or you can call the station. I'm not sure what the number is offhand, but Google always knows. And you can give us a call and let us know what you're seeing. Brandy's up in Matthews County, lighter rain now, and lots of lightning to the south. You can see it blowing up here in Poquoson, southern tip of the peninsula. Just had a severe thunderstorm warning expire. Actually, it was canceled. As the strongest of the winds moved offshore, we can still see, actually has weakened a lot. Let's look at this. So that pocket here, that was much brighter. In fact, let's back it up. Look at that as it came off the coast of Poquoson. See how bright that was? Those were velocity returns that were probably like 50 to 60. Ooh. If you see the lights flash, that's our tower getting struck by lightning. So we'll see. The Poquoson area, look at that. That came off the coast, and then it really weakened. That's good. That's good for Northampton. But let me show you here. I saw the corner of my eye that approaching downtown Suffolk, yeah, we've got some gusty winds for you. Approaching from the west, Kenyon, Kings Fork. Speeds here at least 40 miles per hour, all sub-severe at this time. There we go. But gusty winds at least heading into downtown Suffolk. We've got another little pocket in the, I think we just took a power hit. Ooh, did you hear that? Paige, you obviously you heard that. You're in the same room as I am. Yeah, we took a little bit of a power hit. But we're still up and running. All right, far northwestern Gates County. A little pocket of some gustier winds down near Factory Hill. But really that downtown Suffolk, some gusty winds. North Suffolk, pretty breezy. All of these winds, by the way, are sub-severe, so below 60 mile per hour, at least indicated on radar. But really the bigger story that most of us are feeling is the heavy rainfall and lots of lightning. So the entire frame here that you're seeing on your screen, we're sampling the lightning data for 30 minutes. And you see the strike count there is over 1,000. It's kind of been fluctuating. We'll watch it for a little bit and see if it's going to trend down or upwards. I like to do this if I'm just sitting in the weather center and I pull up the radar and I just watch the lightning count to kind of get a feel for if we're looking at an intensifying line or one that's weakening. And earlier, it looked like this line was weakening as it was moving through Wakefield and Waverly. The strike count was coming down considerably, and then it hit this untapped environment in Southside, and it just really took off with the lightning count jumping, a couple hundred over 30 minutes. And it's still a big producer with lots and lots of lightning here. I wouldn't be surprised if you start getting reports of fires from homes getting struck by lightning. I mean, when you've got such a electrified storm like this one, that becomes a possibility, a much higher likelihood than just a normal, thunderstorm. Let's go around on some of our. I'll leave it up here. So we're at 10:35. Okay, let's just go around to some sky views here. This is right at top. Oh man, imagine if we had this up when we took that lightning strike. That would have been kind of cool. That probably just would have been like bright white, and then that was it. So, but you can see the visibilities. Usually, you can see pretty far in the downtown there with the buildings lit up. You can see that that's obscured a little bit. Visibility is reduced because we've got rainfall rates right now over the station that probably around an inch an hour. So nothing like extraordinary. We've seen this before, but. It may be causing some flooding issues. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen any flooded alerts up. We do have that active flood watch that's up for most of our entire, except for you, Brandy and Matthews. You are not under the flood watch, but everybody else is, and we're seeing the heavy rain, and that could lead to some thunder. That could lead to some flood alerts. At least we've got one that's up. That's a flood advisory. Here in the peninsula, where let's see if that's refreshed over the last hour. So these are our rainfall rates. Yeah, we've got a little bit of an update here. Big Bethel to Poquoson, some of these numbers here, probably around an inch and a quarter. Hampton Roads Center Parkway over 64. So you're looking at between an inch and a quarter that have fallen over the last hour there. Let's see some other spots though. Saw some high totals here in southern. Look at these numbers. Wow. Southern Isle of Wight, Suffolk over into south of Franklin, Southampton County there. Some of these numbers north of Windsor. Yeah, so we're well over an inch and a third to nearly an inch and a half in western Suffolk so far. This is the last hour, by the way. Rainfall rates here. So that's telling us we are within that threshold of 1 to 2 inch an hour rainfall rates. Yeah, I tell you, if it keeps raining like this, we will see some flood alerts coming up here in the short term. At this time, no severe severe thunderstorm warnings. We had that one in southern peninsula. I've been talking a lot today. I'm kind of losing my train of thought a little bit. But that was the last one that was expired at 9:30. There was talk from the Weather Service Storm Prediction Center of the need for an issuance for a severe thunderstorm watch. They put the probabilities on that at only 20%, so it was unlikely. And that would have been if they were calling for like widespread severe weather, putting the watch up. So as you can see, we've only had isolated occurrences of some severe thunderstorm warnings. So it wasn't necessary, but we did have some severe weather out there. And it's going to be hard to go to sleep here in the next hour or so. Folks are trying to get to bed early on this Friday night. Or maybe you're having a storm party with me here on 13 News Now Plus. So far, I've heard from Brandy, and nobody else has messaged me. Sad face. If you're watching this stream tonight, come on, join on in. I'm on Facebook. Mark Ammons did post in one of my posts here about the storms. He said the Hampton Roads, the HRCP, and 64, the storm is comfortably on its way out. He didn't see any good cloud-to-cloud lightning, though. Looks like they're putting out marine warnings for the cells that are over the water now. I bet in the short term we're going to have some sort of flood advisory, at least for Suffolk. Let's see if we got any other comments here. Nope. You know, I could hear the rain in my ear from my mic, so you can probably definitely hear it at home. It is a pouring cats and dogs here in Norfolk. Here's where our station is. There's the Hague. Hold on, let me get the little pointer. Here's the Hague. And we are right over here. So it's pouring here. What's the rainfall rate right on top of our station? 1 inch an hour. It is a pouring. And then you can see, so there's still a lot more rain, heavy rain to the west here that's set to come through. They put up a marine warning that includes the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel for the wind gusts there. Isn't this streaming kind of cool? It's kind of nice. I feel like we're having a conversation here, just hanging out. Okay, here we go. Michael, I hope I'm saying your last name right. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Polecchio? He says, love your stream. It was pretty crazy here in Newport News, but finally starting to calm down. Appreciate you chiming in, Michael. Thanks for the report. Newport News right now, yeah, things are getting a little quieter. You got a lot of lightning and thunder just to your east. Rain still moderate, but heavy rain to the south, heavy rain to the east there. Look at it over the last hour. You'll get another little pocket of some heavy rain here that's coming out of Smithfield, but that should be it for you. Still no flood alert. Oh, no, special weather, special marine warning. Let's look at a couple. You know, I keep on forgetting that I left it on the image so we can track the lightning, and I keep moving it. So here we are over. So the count has gone down. We're now well below 1,000, and this is generally the same area. So 830 strikes in the last 30 minutes. That's still high. Must be real. But I'd even say that it's probably getting a little bit less frequent here. The amount of thunder I've been hearing. But Suffolk, man, they're getting crushed with heavy rain, about to build into Chesapeake. Rainfall rates, let's get a zoom in here. Okay, I'm not going to move it. Stop myself. All right, let's look at some of the cameras. Once again, atop our station here. Reduced visibility, heavy. We got 1 inch an hour rainfall rates here, as we just looked at on radar. Where else are we going? That's up in Newport News. Marie Pierce, thanks for sending a message. She's in Chesapeake, near Chesapeake Regional, just thundering and moderate rain near you right now. Guys, I appreciate the messages, because you guys are our ears and our eyes out there. Like I'm here in Norfolk, right? I can see everything on radar, but getting the on location reports, very, very helpful. And you know what? I certainly love those the most? Snowfall events. Because it varies greatly over snowfall totals, especially this last year when we got that, that foot, which, by the way, I loved, but we'll talk about that another day. Let's see some other. That's up in Newport News. But look at this one. This is Nauticus. So you see that tower blinking on the right of your screen there? That's our station. So we're upriver here, and from Nauticus. Look at all that lightning, and look at how reduced the visibility is. Oh, wouldn't it be something if we see the lightning strike that tower or any of the buildings? It happens all the time. There's lightning. What do they call it? There's equipment on there that counters the lightning strike or dissipates the charge so it doesn't cause damage. But certainly if you can snap, if you got the long exposure lens on your camera, man, you got some good shots. All right, let's see what else we got here. Any other cameras? Oh, nope. Let me switch. So I've got, let's see what the Westin looks like in Virginia Beach. The other way. Not much picked up there. Out at the beach. We're looking east or southeast, but not seeing much there. Hampton not working. Jordan Bridge. Oh, you can see the rain coming down there, how heavy that is. We're back to Norfolk. Let's go back to radar and see what the strike count looks like. All right, we're down in the 700s. So the trend is down. Well, it bounced back up. But so every couple of minutes, or every minute, I think, it will go and refresh. And so that the strike that was 29 minutes ago will be refreshed and cleared out. So we're looking at 30-minute window of strikes here, around 800 in this area. Let's see if we've got any other areas that have some gusty winds. So they issued that marine warning on this lobe that is moving right about over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, 13 here. And some of these, let's get an even better look. See what the wind speeds may be. Okay, between 40 and 45. Approaching the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. Still got some gusty winds in North Suffolk, Bridgeport area, Belleville, Harborview, Bennett's Creek. Some of these numbers here, wind speeds, could be between 30 and 40. Safely below severe criteria, though. And then a little farther south that moved through downtown Suffolk. Some more wind speeds here between 30 and 40. So we're roughly seeing, I mean, these could cycle and re-strengthen again, but seeing wind speeds well below severe criteria. Got another message from Braden Bartlett from Gloucester. Raining here, and it's also Braden's birthday. Braden, appreciate you spending your birthday with us. Happy birthday. A little bit of some rain for your birthday, but up in Gloucester, things are looking a little better for you. It's still raining, but not as much lightning as there was earlier. It's all down in the south now. Look at this batch of lightning over the bay, the mouth of the bay. 240 counts there in the last 30 minutes. The northeast North Carolina, if you're watching, like, what? We got a little bit of rain here. There's hardly anything going on. You're right. You got to head to northern Gates County, then into Suffolk, and up into the Norfolk Portsmouth area to see any action, where it's coming down quite heavily for you this evening. Paige, can you re-trigger that snipe for me? It kind of cycles out after like 20 minutes, I think. Thanks. So what we do on the TV side, so we have ABC programming running right now. We are on our 13 News Now Plus streaming channel. We run a little bug on the top right that lets folks that are watching ABC programming know that we're over here and saying like, hey, come on over and say hello. So that's what I asked Paige to put up for me. And if you're over on channel 13 right now, you see it on the screen in the top right. It says Weather Impact Alert, and it says live streaming now on 13 Plus. So again, folks, if you're just tuning in now, we've been kind of watching this sub-severe line of very heavy rain. We weren't overly concerned with the severe threat, okay? It was mainly the risk for ongoing flooding since we've been so wet this week. We had several. In fact, this is interesting. It's not an updated graphic, but I'll share it with you anyway, and just kind of tell you what I think where it went. So this is what I put out on social media Tuesday, I think it was. So I went back and looked at all of the flash flood warnings that were issued from our local weather service office in Wakefield. They cover all of our viewing area, but also cover Central Virginia and up into Southern Maryland, too. So just the entire area that they cover, how many flash flood warnings they've issued. At this point, they were at 66 warnings. On top of what we saw today, we're probably close to like 75 warnings so far in July. And even at that point on Tuesday at 66, it was still the most ever issued in July. And we were only halfway through the month at that point. So now we're well past that. We're not at the most ever in any month. I think that number is like 120 or something. And I forget what year it was. I think it was was it the year of Matthew 2016? I'd have to go back and look. But, and it wasn't in July either. It was like September probably. And that's a pretty wet month. But just look at the amount. And what I found very interesting here was if you zoom in from Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania County, north of Richmond, all the way south to Roanoke Rapids, every single part of I-95 was under a flash flood warning so far this month. I love a good stat, and that's a cool stat. Also, another stat that I looked into today that I'll be producing a weather nugget on is I'm sure you've noticed this, I think everybody has, how humid it's been this summer. In particular, meteorological summer. So that's June 1st, and then it goes all the way until August 31st, okay? So that just makes it a little easier to kind of query data. So I looked through, the halfway point of meteorological summer was 2 days ago, the 16th. And we quantify humidity with dew points, right? That's a good way to kind of portray how humid it is outside, the amount of moisture available. And when we generally get above 70 on the dew point, it feels uncomfortable. So I queried that data from June 1st to the 16th of July, days where we had at least a dew point above 70. And we are now the most humid first half of meteorological summer on record. And it's not just at Norfolk. Those records go back to 1948, by the way. Other climate sites like Oceana, same. Down into Chesapeake Regional, same. I looked up along the peninsula. I think Williamsburg is also similar, or at least within the top 3. So I'm going to have a little bit more finished off review of that and put out a nugget probably early next week and dive into the data a little bit more. But I find that interesting. It's been just so humid outside, and it's noticeable. It's noticeable, and now we've got the data to kind of back that up. So I find that stuff interesting. Hope you guys do. All right, here's a look at radar. Suffolk, entire city right now is pretty much getting heavy rainfall. Let's see the lightning count. Yeah, we're now in the mid. What were you going to say, Paige? Oh, thank you. I haven't checked that. Paige just let me know that there's about 2,000 people in Newport News. In Newport News without power. According to Dominion, I believe. Let me go to. Oh, there we go. Paige, you are just the best. Yeah, there's that cluster of outages there. So that I can't really see that too well. That's Newport News. Oh yeah, so that's about where the big wind gust was. Bethel Park. Okay. So if we look at that on radar, let's do some cool investigative work. Big Bethel. So there we go. Let's go ahead and back up the wind speeds, okay? So watch the winds as they went through there. So look at that, the pocket through here. See the bright yellows? Those are gonna probably be wind speeds that are at least 40 to 45. Radar indicator, we're pretty far away, so maybe stronger than that, but and then you can see it was strengthening. Look at it as it moved to Pocosin. We had the real bright shades, the lobe of gusty winds, and then it moved offshore. So that caused the, that was definitely what caused the, or it could have been a lightning strike too that maybe hit a transformer or something. But that's what we've got, a pocket of 2,000 power outages so far right now, Big Bethel, Newport News area. And I'm kind of surprised we don't have any other flood alerts up, to be honest with you. You look at the last hour, and with the flash flood criteria lowered today, look at most of Suffolk seeing rainfall in the last hour. Look at some of these pockets south of Franklin, 2 inches, 2 1/3 in the last hour, 2 inches south of or west of downtown Suffolk, north side as well, over 1.5 inches in the last hour. So rainfall rates, talking's hard sometimes, are verifying between 1 to 2 inches per hour in these areas. And it goes in Isle of Wight, too. I don't want to forget you. Windsor over to Smithfield was seeing heavy rainfall rates. Smithfield, the heaviest, is now out of your area. So that's good. Still got some rain there, but that's about it for you. But things look to be getting a little better. Here's a strike count, low 700s now. Oh, Michael, I pronounced your last name right, Pilecchio. Appreciate you watching. Thanks, Michael. Have a great night. Let's see if we've got anything else going on here. Anybody else? Just off J. Clyde Morris. This is TR Counts on Facebook. J. Clyde Morris and Thimble Shoals looking toward Denby. Oh, this is a video he sent in. Plenty of lightning. Stephanie, I just saw your comment. I don't know if you're still watching or not, but Stephanie Van Kijk, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Stephanie says, we're watching the lightning out of our windows and watching 13 News Plus on my phone, and our power is out in Hampton near Saunders and Bethel. So more power outages out along the peninsula this evening. Let me look here. There's another power outage site that kind of gets all the reports into one spot. It's called poweroutage.us. Let's see. Virginia in total has got 18,000 outages, but oh wow, the biggest outages are out in Nottoway County, 1,000, Amelia County, 500, Dinwiddie, 1,100, Sussex, 700, and then we've got, it's saying here on Newport News that it's only 350 out there. York has got 1,400 out. And then we don't see Pocosin. Hampton's got 800. So about 2,000 outages, yeah, which is what Paige was saying, 2,000 outages in the peninsula. Interesting. Let me check that gauge that we were looking at, and yeah, that came down. All right, Paige, why don't we wrap this up at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock? It looks like generally we're seeing the storms kind of slowly weakening, still plenty of heavy rain. No flood alerts at this time, with the exception of the flood advisory that's up for the peninsula until 11:15. Hampton, Newport News, Pocosin, and York. To the south here, Portsmouth, very heavy rainfall. Let's see if we're getting an update from the hourly update rated. Yeah, so we've got areas of Portsmouth that are now seeing over 1.25 inches of rain, according to radar, in the last hour. So probably some incident. You know what? I haven't checked this in a while. I should have earlier. Let's see some storm, if we've got any storm reports. Nope, no flooding reports. All the reports that are there are wind reports, which is, there's one from the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, 51 miles per hour. At the weather flow station at the third island, 44 knots, 51 miles per hour. Marine thunderstorm wind gust. And then up into Pocosin, wind gust of 50 knots there, so 58 miles per hour. Interesting. Oh, that's the same one. Then marine thunderstorm wind gusts, and no, that's not the right one. Saying dare, but no. Weather flow station at Pocosin River recorded wind gusts of 41 knots to 47 miles per hour. And then down to Currituck, Corolla, 40 mile per hour wind gusts. So we've had some gusty winds. Notice they're all along the coast. So again, some of those marine wind gusts, the lower friction along water allows the winds to travel a little faster. But Norfolk right now, lots of lightning and thunder. Let's, again, the strike count. Lower 700s. Oh, we got a flash flood warning just issued here for north, south. Let me put it on there. Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Suffolk. So finally, we've got a severe flash flood warning that's been issued for Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Suffolk. Now, this is radar and gauge indicated. Be interested to see. Let me look at some of the gauges here. Unfortunately, I can't It's on a different screen, so I can't show it to you, but I can report on it. Well, let me read the text that they put out with the warning. Doppler radar and automated rain gauges indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 1 and 2 inches of rain have fallen, like we saw. Additional rainfall amounts of another 1 to 2 inches are possible, so doubling those rain totals in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. So some areas here that they're noticing some possibility of flooding. Virginia Beach, Churchland, Old Dominion University, downtown Portsmouth, downtown Norfolk, Norfolk State University, Ocean View, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Western Branch, Ghent, Craddock, Bowers Hill, Norfolk NAS, Norview, Crittenden, Driver, and Norfolk International. A lot of areas there. Pretty large scale flash flood warning there right now. Now, let me look at those gauges like I was telling you about. So we've got that's a tidal gauge, though. Elizabeth River at the Midtown Tunnel, and nothing too bad there. I don't really see, let me try to see if they have creeks. Love to know what. Yeah, this is a base flash flood warning. So it's like there's tiers. This is the base lowest level one for flash flood warning. And then it goes up from there if it starts to be considerable damage, or like we saw in Petersburg on Monday, they had a tag on it as catastrophic. And that was a PDS flash flood emergency, which I talked about this in my last stream earlier this evening, but I'll talk about it again because, again, I love a good stat. The city of Petersburg earlier this week was under a flash flood warning. It started as a base, and then it quickly increased from there. As I was looking at the Weather Service chat. So we've got this chat room that we can like directly be linked and communicate with the Weather Service and all the other media and Office of Emergency Managers and things like that. And there was I think it was an emergency manager out in Petersburg that was watching the gauge at Lieutenant Run Creek, which is just pretty much east of the Appomattox River. And he was saying, this is rising very, very fast. And I looked at the gauge, and that thing went up like 10 feet. Flood stage is like at 10 feet, and it rose to like 16 feet, I think it was. And then there were like reports of water rescues and cars getting swept away. So the Weather Service was like, we're going PDS flash flood emergency here, which PDS, particularly dangerous situation, and they tagged it as catastrophic. So a couple days later in the chat, somebody had also had this question. They were like, when was the last time in our area that we had a PDS flash flood emergency? And it's rare, okay? You have to go back. I want to say, I can't remember exactly when. I think it was 2018 from Hurricane Michael. Do you remember that? It made landfall as a Cat 5 in Florida, but then it ripped north. And I guess it brought enough rain. I don't remember exactly how it played out here, but it did bring enough rain, obviously, to cause a flash flood emergency. And that was like northwest. It wasn't in our immediate area here. For our immediate area, like Virginia Beach had one, and northeast North Carolina had a flash flood emergency during Matthew in 2016. So it had been 9 years. 9 years, or really 6 years for the one that was to the north and west. So it's not often. There could be years that we don't see any flash flood emergencies, and we saw one this year. So that just tells you how just unprecedented the flash flooding and flooding situation has been in our viewing area so far this year, this month, really. So that's my long-winded story on our flash flood warning that's up right now. Again, this is base, so it's not, it's definitely important, but it's not like, homes are getting washed away or anything like that. So that's good. Let's see, we got a special marine warning. So still this flash flood warning. Let's see, base flash flood, yep. Let's look at the hourly rainfall rates again. Oh yeah, look at this, we're getting a little bullseye here in North Suffolk, Bridgeport, Harborview, actually. Some of these totals, Belleville, 2 inches in the last hour. 2.5 inches north of Belleville. 2.5 southwest of Belleville. Edgefield area, 1.25 inches. Portsmouth area, inch and a half in the last hour. If we see these rainfall rates persist, although let's look at radar here. So we are starting to see, let's go through the last hour. Yeah, look at how much that cell has weakened. You see that? Look at how bright, hold on. Let's go back an hour ago. Let's go back to about 30 minutes ago, 9:30. Look at how, intense the rainfall rates are. In fact, can I query that? Let's see. Yes, okay. So we were looking at 1 to 2 inch an hour rainfall rates here, right? And then now let me go to now. Watch how much different it looks. There's yellows and some oranges there, but the rainfall rates have certainly come down. And rainfall rates here, yeah, now they're like coming in under an inch an hour, which is great. Thumbs up. But still the flash flood warning there because all the rain that has fallen still is draining or trying to drain. And if you live in Norfolk or Portsmouth, vulnerable areas for flooding. There are areas that will flood every time it rains. There are some other areas that will flood when we get very heavy rainfall rates like now and lead to some standing water at least. Brambleton comes to mind. Several areas along Brambleton from Norfolk State all the way down to Centera. I can think of like 3 or 4 spots there that usually flood quite often. And, the good news is that, there's a flash flood warning out right now, but it's 10 o'clock at night. We're not looking at a flash flood warning at 5 p.m. during rush hour. That always makes me nervous when, even myself, if I'm driving and I see water along the roads and, you're always almost peer pressured into driving through it, right? You don't want to. Not advising you do so. But people do it because, I understand it, but it's not a good idea. But, it's very easy to misjudge the depth of some of these flooded roadways. And you get into a foot of water or so and you have a low-profile car, you'll start seeing the water come on in, your engine will stall, and then you'll be stuck. And then you're going to have Norfolk Fire, Virginia Beach Fire, wherever you are, have to come out and rescue you. And that's pretty embarrassing. Especially if you're not, your life isn't in danger here. If it's just like a flooded roadway that's not, moving water, it's just ponding. It's not the best situation. So don't advise it, but people do it. So that was, again, long-winded story that at least it's 10 o'clock at night here on a Friday. Yeah, there's folks out and about enjoying their Friday night, but not as many people on the roadway that you would, if this was during the morning commute or the evening commute. So always got to find the positive, right? Okay, so this flash flood warning is up until midnight. These are always for a large window of time. Most times they do get canceled, and especially since we've got no more downpours building in from the west, this will probably be canceled well before midnight. But we've got our 11 o'clock in about an hour. No longer seeing winds that are very strong at all. So here's just a wide look. You see some of the brighter oranges now that are south, that are pretty much over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. That's about it. So marine wind gusts probably could still get up to 45 to 50, but land wind gusts, I don't know, maybe, let's see in here. Northern Virginia Beach. Let's see what some of these are getting clocked as. Close to 40. Great Neck, Little Neck, and then over to Ocean View, Acredale, over to the airport. Yeah, between 30 and 40 mile per hour gusts still. So all, again, still non-severe. And, what's going on down here? Any other wind gusts? Nope. Nope, not seeing much down there. Definitely, so notice here to the north, we've got what is across Norfolk, the lightning count has gone down substantially. We've got a cluster here of a lot of lightning over water. And then we've got another cluster here that's hovering South Suffolk over to northern Gates. And this, for what it's worth, is the strongest cell out there right now. Higher rainfall rates, lightning frequency higher, but it's still subsevere, okay? And yeah, we're really starting to see it weaken. Okay, so aside from those two clusters, one that's over water, one that's over Gates, we're looking at a count right now in 30 minutes that's still in the mid 700s. So it hasn't fluctuated much, but what's sustaining that number is those two clusters. It's not as widespread as it was. Let's see if we've got any other messages. Nope. I get it. It's late. We've been talking for a while. Nothing's really changed. But if you enjoy these types of streams, oh, wait, brand new flash flood warning for South Suffolk, southern portions of Isle of Wight, and getting into Hertford and Gates in northeastern North Carolina. That one up until 12:15. That is just radar indicators. That's a base flash flood warning, just mainly driven on the rainfall over the last hour, which is impressive in this area. I mean, look at some of these bullseyes. You know, South Quay, southwest of Franklin, over 2.5 inches, almost 3 inches in the last hour. Yeah, that's impressive, and that's significant. So they put up a flash flood warning for a large area from Windsor south into southwest Suffolk. It does clip barely downtown Suffolk within the Belt 58 Beltway there. Gates, northern Hertford as well, because it's building in that direction as well. So there's going to be rainfall rates that go up. So now we've got three. Here's a better, easier way to look at it. We've got 3 flood alerts, 1 flood advisory that's not showing up here. These are just the warnings. 2 flash flood warnings, 1 North Suffolk, North Chesapeake, Portsmouth, and Norfolk. And then we've got the larger one that's up for Isle of Wight, Franklin, far northern Hertford, like the farthest northern you can get. And then Gates County, northwest Gates County, and western Suffolk. Both of these up for another 2 hours till midnight and then 12:15 for ongoing heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. Paige, we'll wrap this up at 10:15, okay, for another 3 minutes or so. Severe threat, greatly diminished now. The only cell I'd watch for any sort of becoming stronger would be this one down in northern Gates. That's, if you can see here, over the last hour. Yeah, drifting east-southeast, really. So eventually it'll be going towards a northern Pasquotank and Perquimans, and then eventually into Camden and Currituck. So that's the only thing there. Is there anything? It looks like we may have a little pocket of some gustier winds here. Yeah, maybe. See a little notch there coming out? We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, that's where we are. Let's see if we have any updates on the, where's this for? I'm not seeing any of the gauges. Let's see. No. What's this one? Nope, no gauges that are showing anything. Looks like Suffolk now, we've got about 700 customers without power. Chesapeake 11 in Virginia Beach, still 1,400 out in York, 300 in Newport News, Hampton 850, Southampton 74, Isle of Wight 18, Sussex 500. Yeah, so those are the areas. The peninsula, hardest hit there. Portsmouth 200, Norfolk 380. So there are power outages. So there are impacts, and we have dual flash flood warnings. But the good news here is that even if I play this out over the last hour, it's very obvious how much this is weakening. You see that going back an hour ago. The lightning count, actually this is the lightning count at 30-minute count, 1,300 strikes an hour ago to now. We're almost half the amount of lightning strikes, and the reflectivity has gone down, meaning the rainfall rates are dropping. There's still some pockets of 1 to 2 inch an hour rainfall rates, sure, but majority of the area is seeing those rainfall rates drop. So that's the good news. Well, folks, that is going to do it. I think we've been on here for a while, probably over an hour. Easy. Yep. I appreciate you all watching and sending me messages on Facebook, letting me know you're there. Appreciate it, and your reports. Braden, happy birthday to you. Appreciate you spending your birthday with us here on 13 News Now Plus. And I was going to say before, if you guys enjoy these types of streams, just wait until we get some tropical systems. You'll see us on here for like hours and hours and hours on end. So it's a nice way for us to connect with you and kind of give you the up-to-date information as it's happening. So, and it almost kind of loops you into what's going on here at the station. So it's a fun little experience for our viewers, which we enjoy being able to provide to you. All right, so that's the latest. Have a great rest of your Friday night. Another threat for some downpours tomorrow afternoon, and then I'm actually in here on Sunday for Hunter Forest. And if there's any issues, I may see you back here on the stream. If not, have a great weekend. All right. How long was that? An hour and a half?